The Pyramids of Egypt. They are the only surviving wonder of the ancient world. For over 4,000 years, they have stood on the Giza plateau, watching empires rise and fall. But how were they built? Who built them? And why? Most people think they know the story. Slaves built the pyramids under the crack of a whip. Thousands of forced laborers dragged massive stones across the desert. It's a dramatic image and it's almost entirely wrong. The truth is far more impressive. The men and women who built the pyramids were not slaves. They were skilled laborers, craftsmen, engineers, surveyors, and architects. They worked in rotating shifts and were paid in food, beer, and lodging. Archaeological excavations have uncovered their living quarters, bakeries, and even medical clinics near the pyramid sites. These workers were respected members of Egyptian society. So how did they move 2-ton blocks of limestone without modern machinery? The answer is surprisingly elegant. Recent experiments have shown that wetting the sand in front of a heavy sled reduces the friction dramatically. When the sand is damp, the sled glides over it rather than digging in. A team of workers could pull a 2-ton block on a wet sand track with relative ease. This wasn't brute force. It was physics. The Egyptians also used wooden rollers, levers, and ramps. The ramp theory is the most widely accepted, a long, gradually sloping causeway of mud, brick, and limestone chippings, built alongside the pyramid as it rose. As the pyramid grew higher, the ramp grew longer. After construction was complete, the ramp was dismantled. But the most astonishing thing about the pyramids isn't how they were built. It's the precision with which they were built. The Great Pyramid of Giza is made of an estimated 2.3 million blocks of stone, each weighing between 2 and 80 tons. The entire structure covers 13 acres. Its sides are aligned to the 4 cardinal directions with an accuracy of within 1/15 of a degree. That's more precise than most modern buildings. The base of the pyramid is almost perfectly level. The variation in height across the entire 13-acre foundation is less than 2 centimeters. Think about that. 4,500 years ago, without lasers, without GPS, without power tools, Egyptian surveyors achieved a level of precision that would challenge modern engineers. The largest stones in the pyramid weigh as much as 80 tons. They were transported from quarries hundreds of miles away. Some of the granite used in the king's chamber came from Aswan, 500 miles up the Nile. These stones were moved on barges during the annual flood, when the river was high enough to bring them close to the Giza plateau. And then there's the mathematics. The Great Pyramid encodes an astonishing amount of mathematical knowledge. The ratio of its perimeter to its height is approximately 2 pi. The pyramid's location at the center of Earth's landmass is accurate to within a few miles. It sits at the exact intersection of the longest lines of latitude and longitude. Coincidence? Many researchers think not. The Egyptians were master astronomers and mathematicians. They understood geometry at a level that we are only beginning to appreciate. The pyramids were built during the 4th dynasty, roughly 2,600 years before Christ. The 3 main pyramids at Giza were built by 3 generations of pharaohs, Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. Khufu's pyramid, the Great Pyramid, is the largest. It originally stood 480 feet tall, though erosion and the loss of its outer casing stones have reduced it to 455 feet. The outer casing stones were polished white limestone that would have made the pyramid gleam like a jewel in the desert sun. They were so precisely fitted that a knife blade could not be inserted between them. Most of these casing stones were stripped away in the Middle Ages to build buildings in Cairo, but a few remain at the base, showing the incredible craftsmanship. Inside the Great Pyramid, there are 3 main chambers: the King's Chamber, the Queen's Chamber, and the Grand Gallery. The Grand Gallery is a masterpiece of engineering, a soaring corridor almost 200 feet long, with a corbelled ceiling that distributes the immense weight of the pyramid above it. The King's Chamber contains a sarcophagus made of a single block of red granite. It's too large to have been brought in after the chamber was built, which means the pyramid was constructed around it. The sarcophagus is empty. No mummy has ever been found in the Great Pyramid. This raises one of the greatest mysteries of the pyramids. Were they actually tombs? The traditional view says yes, but the lack of any burial evidence has led some researchers to propose other theories. Perhaps they were astronomical observatories. Perhaps they were energy generators. Perhaps they were initiatory temples for a secret priesthood. The simplest explanation is probably the correct one. The pyramids were looted in antiquity, as were virtually all Egyptian tombs. The treasures and bodies were stolen thousands of years ago. The empty sarcophagus doesn't mean nobody was ever buried there. It means somebody stole the body. But the mysteries don't end there. How did the Egyptians cut granite with copper tools? Copper is softer than granite. The answer appears to be that they used sand as an abrasive. By rubbing a copper saw back and forth with sand and water, they could slowly cut through even the hardest stone. It was tedious, but it worked. Egyptian craftsmen also used dolerite balls, a harder stone, to pound and shape granite. Thousands of these dolerite balls have been found near the pyramids, showing the scale of the work. The pyramids were not built in isolation. They were part of a vast complex that included temples, causeways, smaller pyramids for queens, and the Great Sphinx. The Sphinx, carved from a single outcrop of limestone, is the largest monolith statue in the world. It has the body of a lion and the head of a pharaoh, probably Khufu. For centuries, the Sphinx was buried up to its neck in sand. It was only fully excavated in the 1920s. The dream of the pharaoh Thutmose IV, who was told by the Sphinx to clear the sand in exchange for the crown of Egypt, was finally fulfilled 3,000 years later. Today, the pyramids face new threats. Pollution from Cairo is slowly eroding the limestone. Tourism puts pressure on the site. Climate change brings more extreme weather. But the structures themselves remain remarkably intact after 45 centuries. The pyramids have seen it all. They watched the fall of the Old Kingdom, the conquests of Alexander the Great, the rise of the Roman Empire, the birth of Islam, the Crusades, the World Wars, and the Space Age. They will likely still be standing when our own civilization has crumbled to dust. So the next time you see a picture of the pyramids, remember. They were not built by slaves. They were built by some of the most skilled engineers, astronomers, and craftsmen the world has ever known. They represent the triumph of human ingenuity over impossible odds. The pyramids are not just tombs. They are time machines. They connect us to a civilization that, in so many ways, was just as advanced as our own. And they remind us that the greatest achievements are not built by individuals, but by entire societies working together toward a common goal. That is the true legacy of the pyramids. Not just stones stacked on stones, but a testament to what humanity can achieve when we work together. Thanks for watching Historia 4K. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. We release new documentaries every week, uncovering the stories that shaped our world. But the pyramids of Giza are not the only pyramids in Egypt. There are over 100 pyramids scattered across the country, each with its own story. The first pyramid ever built was the Step Pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara, designed by the architect Imhotep around 2670 BC. It started as a traditional mastaba tomb, but Imhotep had a grander vision. He stacked 6 increasingly smaller mastabas on top of each other, creating a step-like structure that rose 200 feet into the air. Imhotep's innovation didn't stop there. He used stone instead of mud brick for the first time in Egyptian architecture. The Step Pyramid is the oldest large-scale stone structure in the world, and Imhotep was later deified as the god of medicine and architecture. After the Step Pyramid came the Bent Pyramid at Djoser, built by Pharaoh Sneferu. It gets its name from the strange change in angle about halfway up. Architects believe the builders realized the original angle was too steep and adjusted it midway to prevent collapse. It was a learning experience that led directly to the perfection of the Giza pyramids. Sneferu also built the Red Pyramid, the first true smooth-sided pyramid in Egypt. Named for the reddish limestone used in its construction, it proved that the engineering problems of the Bent Pyramid had been solved. Sneferu built 3 pyramids in his lifetime, more than any other pharaoh, as the Egyptians perfected the art of pyramid building. The pyramid building era lasted only about 120 years, from Djoser to the end of the 4th dynasty. After that, later pyramids were smaller and less well constructed. The Egyptians had mastered the form, but the cost and effort proved too great to sustain. Today, the pyramids continue to reveal their secrets. Recent scans using muon tomography have discovered a large hidden void inside the Great Pyramid, above the Grand Gallery. Its purpose remains unknown. After 4,500 years, the pyramids are still surprising us.